Good afternoon, welcome back to my channel. Yes, those are my flags. I found them in my room. I'm in my temporary home, a rented apartment in Beijing. After living overseas for 10 years, my parents sold my old apartment thinking that I might never come back. And guess what? I'm here and I found those lovely flags in my room. My mom decorated my room with those thinking to make me feel home. And yes, thank you, Mom. And she said she loved the colors. I guess me too, but if you want some flags, let me know. I've got like plenty and perhaps too many. I'll just keep this to the rest are yours. Today I want to talk about how to protect your copyright in China as an artist. So this afternoon I went to visit my lovely old friend Dr. Kessler in his office in the landmark building. I used to teach him Chinese law right in this block. Well, I don't want to say that I'm teaching a doctor in copyright law, law, because that wouldn't be true. I was teaching him Chinese law in Chinese as like a kind of language class, and he was teaching me Chinese law in English as a law class. So we were doing this kind of exchange for 3 years, like 13 years ago to 10 years ago. And after that, I think both of us has grown a lot thanks to all this time spent training ourselves or training each other. I was able to work in the IPR field for 3 years, and he opened his boutique law firm helping companies to establish in China and protect and defend their IPRs in China. And I think it's a lovely idea. And he ran this successful law firm with his partner/wife, and they were like lovely, and they received me in this office and we had a talk. I asked him, if an artist wants to do business in China and worried about, their artworks or any kind of art forms got stolen by, whoever, how can an artist protect his or her own copyright in China? Obviously, for those of you who doesn't know, copyright is very different from trademark, design, or patent, because all this other stuff of IPR you can register in an office. Like the office I was working with is EU-IPO, who is in charge of design and trademark. The European Patent Office in Munich is in charge of patent, obviously. So you can actually go to an office and pay the authority and get it protected with a certificate that is renewable, and that is you feel a sense of protection at least. In Europe, I knew there's no such a thing. The way to register the copyright as the same as registering trademark, design, and patent. And what European artists do, especially screenwriters, I was told by very senior, very experienced screenwriters that they just print out and mail to themselves this copy of the screenplay or poetry or whatever texts that you are writing and creating. You just mail yourself a copy every time you have a major change or update, and then you just preserve this envelope without opening it. If someone claims that this idea was originally theirs 5 years ago, and you can show the envelope this was me 10 years ago mailing to myself. Now we open in front of the court, in front of the judge, and let's see who is right. And guess what? First come, first served. If you had this idea first, the idea is yours. Especially when it comes to this, story and stuff. And it was a very primitive way, obviously. Not to mention that constantly you have to print and send to yourself, and you're risking losing this envelope after such a long time, risking losing it during the transportation. Many things can happen, and it doesn't feel the same when you have a registered trademark and you can actually show and it's in the system, and it just feels more protection. But good news is, Florian and his partner told me, in China, you can protect your copyright as an artist by going to an authority, the Copyright Office. I don't really know how to say that in Chinese, but it's an authority that you go there and you pay a small fee to have your artworks registered, and you receive a certificate saying what has been registered, and you get full protection with that certification. Of course, you don't have to register. You don't have to. If you don't want, in Europe, you can't even register, right? If you have this idea, you can show that it's yours, it's all yours. But the most difficult thing is to show that you had this idea first. how are you gonna show, right? So to have this registration, I think is an excellent idea, and I really appreciate this like function of this part of the organization. And if I were an artist, I would definitely register. And the fee is very, very small. If you have just texts like screenplays or like stories or poetry or essays, you can just pay 200 yuan, which is like what, $30, and it's really affordable. If you have an image which is more complex, image with texts, like for example artwork, you can still protect it, but it will be more expensive. It would cost 2,000 yuan. That is something. Okay, instead of $30, you're paying $300. And perhaps for you, it's not worth it if you just sell one artwork. It's probably you don't want to spend $300 for artwork that will be sold for $3,000, because that would be too much of a cost. But if you plan to bring this artwork to China and sell merchandising, to sell like hundreds of thousands of copies, yes, get it protected. The good news is it's a work-specific registration. No matter how many reproductions you sell, it's still the same cost. They won't say, give me 5% each work you print. No. They don't charge you more than just the work being registered. So the rest you can just enjoy with full protection without worrying about anything. Because once someone infringes your rights, you just show this. And guess what? In court, it's so easy. You show this, the right is all yours, and you get appropriately compensated. Okay, so that was what I've learned with Dr. Kessler and his partner, and it was a lovely experience. Next week, I'm going to come back to visit them because they are running such a successful business and they have like 8 employees, all international lawyers, and they are full in capacity. He had so many clients that he would even have to choose the most suitable clients for his business, and there are a lot of people already on his waiting list. So he wanted to share some information as kind of giving back to the community, and he wants to empower people, especially artists who normally don't have the resources available to hire expensive lawyers like him. So he is willing to give video tutorials for free, and he wants some help from me to set up this studio and set up like with the camera and everything. So I'm going to next week sit down with him with my camera and do a run through, and I will have excellent opportunity to ask him any questions regarding to IPR internationally or just in China. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment below so I can ask him those questions and get back to you. So don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thank you very much. And if you want flags, let me know.